Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Today is Monday, July 10th, 2023, and we welcome you to the July meeting of the Milford Board of Aldermen. Please join me as we salute our flag. Madam Secretary, will you please take the roll?
Alderman Archiola.
Present.
Alderman Beatty.
Alderman Beatty would like to be excused, Madam Secretary.
Alderman Broster. Alderman Casey.
Here.
Alderman Gurman.
Present.
Alderman Genatasio.
Here.
Alderman Marlowe.
Here.
Alderman Moffett.
Alderman Moffett would like to be excused, Madam Secretary.
Alderman Moore.
Present.
Alderman Morenin.
Here.
Alderman Pacelli.
Here.
Alderman Parente.
Present.
Alderman Vitro.
Present.
Alderman Vitale.
Here.
Alderman Willis.
Here.
12 are present.
Thank you, Madam Secretary. We do have a quorum. We now have a presentation from our Mayor, Richard Smith.
But you may have noticed we have a well-attended meeting tonight with a lot of very talented cheerleaders who represent our city, and we're here to express our congratulations and our gratitude for your hard work and recognize that hard work tonight. So what I'd like to do is read to you a proclamation for both the Milford Eagles Junior Pee Wee cheerleading team as well as the Milford Eagles varsity cheerleading team. Both will be recognized here tonight. Thanks for coming out. The weather turned out to be beautiful despite the forecast to the contrary. It was just for tonight to recognize our cheerleaders. Whereas the 2023 Milford Eagles Junior Pee Wee cheerleading team, comprised of 17 cheerleaders, has brought honor and pride to themselves and to our community. Whereas the Junior Pee Wee cheerleaders placed first in show cheer and sideline cheer at the state competition, first in show cheer and sideline cheer, and won the Spirit Award at the Southern Connecticut Pop Warner competition, and first in show cheer and sideline cheer at the regionals in Massachusetts. The team then traveled to Orlando, Florida, where they participated in the Nationals and placed third in show cheer and second in sideline cheer. And from there, they went on to place third in Globals in Atlantic City, New Jersey. And whereas our cheerleaders assembled a winning combination through hard work, dedication, and enthusiasm, and competed in championship level cheerleading as a testament to their own ability, coaching expertise, and a desire to win. Now therefore I, Richard M. Smith, the Mayor of the City of Milford, by virtue of the authority vested in me on behalf of our citizens in Milford, do hereby extend our congratulations to the Milford Eagles Junior Pee Wee cheerleading team and extend this expression of our pride in their accomplishments and our appreciation for the fine manner in which they have represented our community. Congratulations, girls. I will present the proclamation, I will hand the proclamations to Karen, who will distribute them to each of you. You want to try to do a picture up there? Want to do both or do one at a time? Is this both?
Yes.
Are you Karen?
Yes.
Okay. Let me read the second one and then we'll do the other one too. Joining us up front here is also the Milford Eagles varsity cheerleading team. So whereas the 2023 Milford Eagles varsity cheerleading team, comprised of 21 cheerleaders, has brought honor and pride to themselves and to our community. Whereas the varsity cheerleaders placed first in show cheer and sideline cheer at the state competition, first in show cheer and sideline cheer at Southern Connecticut Pop Warner competition, and second in show cheer and first in sideline cheer at the regionals in Massachusetts. And if you don't know what a show cheer is or a sideline cheer, see me after the meeting, I'll explain it to you. The team then traveled to Orlando, Florida, where they participated in the Nationals and placed sixth in show cheer and first in sideline cheer. Then went on to the Globals in Atlantic City, winning third in show cheer, and where these cheerleaders have assembled a winning combination through hard work, dedication, and enthusiasm, and competed in championship level cheerleading as a testament to their own abilities, coaching expertise, and a desire to win. Now, therefore, I, Richard M. Smith, Mayor of the City of Milford, by virtue of the authority vested in me, and on behalf of our citizens here in Milford, do hereby extend our congratulations to the Milford Eagles varsity cheerleading team and extend this expression of our pride in their accomplishments and our appreciation for the fine manner in which they have represented our community. Congratulations, guys. Mr. Chairman, could I request a 5-minute recess so that our cheerleaders might assemble on the front steps to do a few photos, and we'll be right back.
5-minute recess. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. You guys want to come out in front? We'll do some pictures.
We retain. The next portion of the meeting is devoted to public comment. Statements are strictly limited to the legislative function of the Board of Aldermen. Please use every effort to limit public speaking to the permissible business of the Board of Aldermen. The time limit granted to each speaker shall be 3 minutes. Residents, taxpayers, and electors may address the board at this time. The board encourages speakers not to express derogatory, insensitive, or offensive statements or to engage in personal attacks against individuals. In order to allow everyone an opportunity to speak, I'd ask that everyone please limit their comments to 3 minutes. Anyone wishing to address the board can do so at this time. Just to let the audience know, the alderman cannot have a dialogue with the speakers.
Understood.
Thank you very much.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor, Aldermen. I'm here to ask the city leaders to address 2 issues: the sharing economy and the noise pollution. The letter to the city detailing the events of June 24th at 20 Haystack Road and a scheduled event on July the 8th illustrate the need for your action. First, the city must adopt an ordinance to address the sharing economy business model. It must prohibit the renting out of any residential indoor and outdoor space. Mr. and Mrs. Tabaris, the owners of 20 Haystack Road, market their residence as Milford Manor, which is rented via the app swimply.com or by contacting directly to host a party. Pool party. They are operating a resort on their property. These activities bring noise, traffic, liquor, and unsafe conditions to our neighborhood. People attending are not concerned about littering or urinating on our property. Neighbors saw bodyguards with bulletproof vests and guns. The June 24th party could have escalated into something that could have made national news. This is absolutely wrong and needs to stop immediately. Second, the city needs a noise ordinance. On June 24th, the music was so loud, my home was vibrating. I was not able to find a room where I could escape the noise and the profanity that was broadcast throughout the neighborhood. It is unacceptable. I'm tired of listening to loud music from this property played by people who rent his pool that could care less about my residents and my neighborhood. Other towns have an ordinance, and Milford should adopt one with an objective measure. When the police come out and say it's appropriate, that's a subjective measure, and what is appropriate to you may not be appropriate to me. I can't sit out on my back deck and enjoy a Sunday or afternoon without having to listen to garbage coming over the air. Another event was planned for July the 8th, 100+ guests to be shuttled to his property. On July the 7th, tents were set up overnight. Connecticut's biggest pool party was advertised. Drip or drown. Parking was advertised on the Instagram. Parking was at 150 Boston Post Road, the Big Y parking lot. Shuttle service to the property. DJs, alcohol for sale. This would have been another repeat of June 24th. At the last minute, the event was canceled and moved to Hartford. Other parties are also planned at his home in the near future. Although Mr. and Mrs. Tabaris have been issued a violation, they still continue to host parties. Milford Manor is still on the Swimply website. So my question to all of you tonight is, what steps are you going to take and when to stop this business practice and the noise pollution coming from this residence? Thank you.
My name is Robert Andel, and I live at 84 Cornfield Road in Milford. On June 24th, 2023, the Haystack Road, Cornfield Road neighborhood in Milford experienced an inappropriate party hosted by a neighborhood resident. It is believed well over 100 people attended that party because cars were parked on both sides of both Cornfield and Haystack Roads along almost the entire length of both roads. Only one vehicle could pass along the street at any one time, and access by large emergency vehicles would probably not have been possible. It is believed a fee was charged to attend the party and that liquor was sold. A DJ played extremely loud music using profane and vulgar language. Objects inside my house vibrated due to the very loud, low-frequency sound from the bass speakers being used during the entire duration of the party. After the party ended, the streets were filled with litter. After the party was over, I understand that Planning and Zoning Commission issued a cease and desist order to the homeowner who hosted the party for commercial use of the residential property. I am grateful for that action by the Commission, but since I am not aware of exactly what types of events are allowed and prohibited in Milford on residential properties, I would like to request the Board of Aldermen to adopt an ordinance that prohibits the following in residential neighborhoods. Number one, the rental of homes for a period less than 2 months, use of residential property including swimming pools, tennis courts, pickleball courts, basketball courts, and similar facilities for which any type of fee is charged or compensation is received. And number three, creating loud, unusual, or offensive noise of any type with appropriate allowances and exemptions for property repair and maintenance. With the proliferation of apps allowing homeowners to rent almost anything in their possession using their cell phones or computers, these types of inappropriate events are almost certainly going to increase unless they are properly prevented. Thank you for listening.
My name is Paul Cavanna. I live at 100 Cornfield Road in Milford, Connecticut for the past 10 years with my wife Stephanie, my daughter Gianna, who's 10 years old, my son Nico, who's 8 years old, my daughter Liliana, who's 5 years old, and my son Leo, who's 3-year-old. We love the town of Milford. We love our schools, and most importantly, we love our neighborhood. I'm here tonight regarding my concerns about the event that was held on Saturday, June 24th at 20 Haystack Road from 2 p.m. to 9 p.m. This commercial party was held in a residential neighborhood and included a cover charge, the sale of liquor, security guards, loud explicit music, and hundreds of cars parked throughout our neighborhood, obstructing driveway entrances and fire hydrants. Additionally, during this event, the smell of cannabis was rampant, and partygoers were urinating on multiple properties across the street. Furthermore, trash was left all over the neighborhood, including condom wrappers, food, and feminine hygiene products. The party had a $50 cover charge, and bottles of liquor were sold. The homeowner did not show any regard to the concerns when they were brought to his attention by members of the neighborhood. My wife and I are very concerned about the safety and legality of these events. This is a residential neighborhood not zoned for commercial parties, specifically the sale of liquor, lack of appropriate parking, lack of appropriate toilets, lack of appropriate sanitation, and lack of appropriate law enforcement. I'd like to express a sincere thank you to the mayor's chief of staff and the mayor. I contacted 2 of my aldermen by email. One of my aldermen does not have an email address listed. I contacted the mayor's office. The chief of staff called me immediately, and the mayor sent a personal visit to my wife the following day. I firmly believe that because of his events and working with the police department, that the party on Saturday was shut down. Please know that our neighborhood, Mr. Mayor, really appreciates your leadership, and we hope it will continue. That being said, the reason why I'm here is that I hope that this body will put together legislation in order to prevent parties like this so our neighborhoods could be respected as residential areas so our children can enjoy their time here in Milford. Thank you.
I'd like to thank you all for hosting us tonight and everybody that's speaking. My name is William Golbeck. I live at 479 Plains Road. I've been in the public safety industry for 40 plus years. We also own a small business in Milford for the past 26 years. A couple of questions I have as a small business owner. Is the individual a registered business in Milford? If not, does he owe money? Is the individual paying taxes for a business? Because the value of the pool, if he allows the restroom in his house to be used, the value of the house counts against taxes. Because I know when I get taxed for what I use for my small business, these are all included. tents, supplies? Are we making sure that he's paying proper taxes for this business, or is he just skating by? Does the individual have the appropriate insurance for the venue? Does it cover child endangerment? Because the requirements for some small businesses that have children at their events, the insurance industry has changed, and there's different rules and regulations. So I hope that this is being monitored. Also, are there cameras on the site? I'm told there are. If so, do they align with the laws for cameras monitoring not only these large events, but even the small events for small families with children? What is he videotaping? Does he have the right to videotape? Also, I encourage you guys to check the DJ site. It's still up, and it shows everything. Nothing is left to your imagination if you check the DJ site. Clearly, based on Swimley's website, they did not follow their rules. There's supposed to be no sale of alcohol, no pornography, unaddressed drinking, and finally, what kind of protection is in place for these events for the neighbors in regards to trespassing, defacing, and damaging properties in the vicinity? Again, I have 40+ years in the public safety industry. This is appalling. Thank you for your time, and thank you for taking our voice. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
My name is Bill Petromont, and I've lived at 40 Cornfield Road for 44 years. I have never, ever seen anything like this in our neighborhood, not even close. Where you have people without any clothes on walking down the middle of your street, and all the kids in the neighborhood can see them because it's, before 10 o'clock at night. You have wall-to-wall cars, most from out of state, into our neighborhood where they're conducting a business and they're selling liquor. And they're advertising on the internet that they're selling liquor at this address. It's a shame that something like this could even be thought of starting. I mean, I've been in Milford for 56 years. Most of my life. I love this town. I love this city. And things got to change. It's horrible what they did to our neighborhood that night. Horrible. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Marlene Sanchez. I live at 6 Haystack Road, right next door to 20 Haystack Road. So if anybody has the fun of having them living next door to them, it's me. We got this letter the next day from them, and it read, "We hope that you are willing to try and look into your hearts in order to forgive the acts done by any guests this past weekend at our house. They did not show respect for our neighborhood and properties. Their actions demonstrated a complete disregard of respect for our families. Each year, many of us in the neighborhood have gatherings and celebrations that are, for the most part, tolerable. However, this event at our home was completely intolerable. With that being said, I was misinformed about how the gathering would take place and admit to everyone that I made a huge mistake. This will never happen again. Please feel free to talk to us and we will answer any questions you have." So on Saturday, when we found out about the next party, it turns out he had already had the next party planned when he sent this letter saying, "It will never happen again." Friday night at 10:30 at night, somebody backs into his backyard and puts up 6 tents. And then the next day he claims, "I don't know anything about it. You're living in that house. You need to know something about it." It's, again, he's saying we all have celebrations. Yes, we do. We do have celebrations. But when my celebrations are happening at my house and I'm making pizzas for 25 people or my teacher friends, we're not playing loud, vulgar, disgusting music. We're not urinating next door or in somebody's bushes. We're not having sex down the street by the stop sign in the dark. We're conducting ourselves like human beings should, with respect for the neighbors around us. We let the neighbors know that there might be more cars in the neighborhood and they're coming to our house. And when our party people leave, we walk our area to clean up the mess. It took them, the police, to come on Sunday morning at 10 o'clock to wake them up, to clean up all that disgusting garbage that was left by his so-called people that came to his house. So again, it's not so much that we want the government to take over and start doing things for us. We just need you to be aware that this is intolerable, and we do need some kind of action, because obviously he's not showing respect for the people in our neighborhood. And we really do need to be neighbors. I mean, it's a sad day when this kind of event happens in a residential neighborhood. And the kids in our neighborhood couldn't even go out and play because of the music, the people, the way they were dressed, everything. And the marijuana smell that radiated the neighborhood for hours. So please, thank you again for listening to all of us.
Hi, my name is Robin Moran. I live at 500 Plains Road, and I'm directly across from Cornfield. I'm not sure if any of you have seen some of the ads. If there's anyone interested in seeing them, I have some printouts or copies of the ads and the simply, however you say, the website's address, some information that was posted. I grew up in the neighborhood. I grew up in the Benjamin Heights development, and I returned there after I had my son, because I wanted him to have that same kind of experience. I had a phenomenal childhood. And it was, when I went back there, it's changed a bit, and I've been there now, total 43 years of my life. And it's definitely in the negative side now, with the traffic in the area, and then I thought that was bad until this happened. I'm about a quarter mile from his house, and what's happened now is he's turned it into, as you know, the venue, and he's renting it out. They sell the tickets to the party, they sell hookahs, and they sell alcohol packages up to $1,500 to rent, which includes the tent. Why you have to rent a tent in a person's yard, you can use your imagination for that. I know some of the neighbors have witnessed some of the activities that were happening there. On June 24th, he had the party, and there were hundreds of cars that occupied both sides of the street. It went from the end of Cornfield, directly across from my house, all the way to the other end of Cornfield, and all of Haystack, both sides of the road. I measured it out. It's 1 mile from both ends and around. So it's 2 miles of cars. There were hundreds of cars. When they left that night, I stood there and watched. They started at about 10 of 9, and it took till 9:30 to actually exit for most of them. Just constant flow. They didn't even stop. So again, there was hundreds of cars, multiple people in a car. They were roaming the streets. They were walking down in front of all of our homes, doing whatever. The music, from where I live, I could hear it. I had all my windows shut. I couldn't take the TV, wouldn't cover the sound. The music wouldn't cover the sound. I actually had to leave my house during the middle of the day just because my head was hurting. We shouldn't have to go through this. You know, I've gone through the zoning regulations to see, you know, we live in a R30 zone, and there's nothing in the zoning code that covers this. You know, we're supposed to have if anybody has any businesses, they shouldn't have any excess traffic, and our tranquility should remain as it is, and that did not happen. After hearing all the other overall activities of the day from the other neighbors and what the owner intended to do the other day, you know, I went by Big Y. A police officer was there waiting, it appears, so to stop anything, which was great. We saw police roaming, you know, constantly patrolling our streets, which was perfect. We wanted, you know, we want that presence. But we're also very disgusted by what's going on. And I'm asking for me and for my neighbors, of the board and of Mayor Smith, to have this stopped. What can we do to get it done? You know, we're all here showing the support, and if you could do anything that would help us, we'd greatly appreciate it. Thank you.
Good evening, and thanks for having us. My name is Tori Maiko. I am from 65 Cornfield Road in Milford. We've been there, Keith and myself have been there for 13 years. And I've never seen anything like this at a party, like from the 24th of June. It was absolutely awful. Everybody spoke about it. I'm going to move on to some other things. But after that party, the gentleman who resides at 11 Haystack suggested to the 20 Haystack gentleman who had the party, you need to write an apology letter. So he did. And then on the 7th of July, tents went up in the evening, as they discussed before, and the party was going to begin for the 8th. The gentleman at 11 Haystack went to the gentleman at 20 Haystack and said, how can you do this after you sent out an apology letter? That's wrong. You got to stop the party. So I don't know what he said, whatever. So the party was stopped, I believe, by that Ways and Means. And prior to that, I got wind of people parking through a flyer, and I'm going to give it to, I gave the chairman one and the secretary one, but I'll give the rest of the flyers to you, all the correspondence. I found out that parking was going to be at Big Y. I contacted Big Y immediately. They were not aware of this. And I then, I guess the flyer went to the police department from one of the other neighbors in the neighborhood, and then I went back to Big Y to find out if what was going to happen with the parking there, and they said they received the flyer that they were going to park there. So a police car then was at Big Y monitoring. I'm asking for a noise ordinance because the noise is terrible. I reside right behind 20 Haystack. It's awful. Ever since they moved in there into 20 Haystack, it's been constant. And the day after the 24th of June, I did speak to Mr. DeBarris, and he said to me, I said to him, it got a little out of hand, didn't it? And he said, no, it was exactly what I expected. And there were people that didn't even show up. And I was shocked. I was shocked with what he said. He also has said that, how am I supposed to pay my mortgage? So he's using this as a side hustle to pay his mortgage, so he says. I'm asking for your help, everybody, to try to squash all this kind of loud music, the Swimply.com, because I do believe that that is a commercially run business. I thank you, and just want to make, another thing I do want to ask is, well, I know you can't answer me, but Mr. DeBarris wants to get a storage and shipping container and put it at the back of his property. Is that legal? I don't know. I don't want that to happen because that would be visible from my backyard. I mean, the noise from there drives me nuts. He was blaming his child for the music, loud music. He said, I'll talk to my son, but it's not the son. It's the parties he's having. So that's my thank you very much, and I appreciate if you would help us.
Hi everyone, good evening. My name is Yvonne Jennings. I live at 71 Haystack Road and have lived there for 26 years. The reason I'm here tonight is I have firsthand experience that I actually had a party on Saturday for my daughter. I went to Mr. Tavares' house and had a conversation with him in regards to what happened on the 24th. He admitted to me that it got out of hand. I actually asked him that I knew that there was up-and-coming parties and it was going to be on the day of my daughter's, and he said that that wasn't going to happen. They hadn't left a deposit, and that he didn't realize that the last one was going to be as large as it ended up being. With that being said, I said to him, can you tell me as a homeowner that you didn't know that this was happening, and when you saw the security guard come, which I have a picture of the armor that he was wearing, that you didn't shut it down as a homeowner? And he said, I won't let it happen again. The day of my daughter's graduation party, I found out that this was about to happen again. This cannot be tolerated. I had 70 people at my house. I could tell you who every single person was. Everyone here can tell you that they didn't hear my party. I had an acoustic guitar player. I didn't disrupt the neighborhood. I didn't cause excessive parking where people couldn't get through, emergency vehicles. And it was over by 10 o'clock. If you didn't know I was having it, you wouldn't have known I was having it. People should be able to enjoy their residence. We're all taxpayers, but what transpired and what they have planned in the future, we have to find a way to stop it. I don't know if anybody has means to do that, or if it can happen more sooner than later, but I think we have to come together and stop this. I do have the pictures if anybody wants them. I do have a memo that I can send. I'm not gonna stand here and beat a dead horse. You all know what's happening. But what can we do as a resident in the city of Milford to stop this from happening? Not just in my neighborhood, but in all of yours. Because if it's happening now, it's only gonna escalate. Thank you.
Is there,
Hi, my name is Ed Fisher. I live at 205 Cornfield Road. For 40 years now. When you talk about the noise ordinance, we had this dance once before. With the motorcycle track, we know where that went. The noise, I live all up the end, so I didn't hear the noise that happened at this party. I could hear the booming, all that. But what I'm going to say is I've also not only lived here for 40 years, I've owned Auto Glass of Connecticut, a business established in this town for 40 years. I pay my taxes. I pay my rent. I pay my utilities. So if this guy is allowed to do this stuff, can I take my business and move it into my house? Just like him? I mean, we should all be allowed to do that in this case. I feel this guy should be stopped in his tracks and not be allowed to run his business at all. Thank you.
is there anyone else wishing to address the board at this time? Seeing none, I want to thank each and every one of you for coming out tonight and venting to us your issues in your neighborhood. I wish that, try not to have that ever happen again. But we appreciate your remarks and we'll go from there. Agenda item number 3, Alderman Willis.
Thank you, Chairman Vitro, and good evening, everyone. Consideration of minutes of the regular meeting of the Board of Aldermen held on June 5th, 2023, and special meeting of the Board of Aldermen on June 27th, 2023.
Second. Motion has been made and seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Agenda item number 4, there was no special organizational meeting. Agenda item number 5, Chairman's report. I got a letter from the Food to Kids organization, And it read, "Dear Chairman Vitro, we extend our heartfelt thanks to you and your board of Aldermen for choosing to direct funds to the amount of $2,500 to our Food to Kids program again this year." Just want to let everyone know for that. Agenda item number 6, Mayor's Report and Recommendations. Is there a report from the Mayor?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Happy July. I can't believe it's July already. I want to congratulate the folks responsible for the incredible fireworks show that Milford put on. The reviews were rave. A lot of hard work went into that, so congratulations to all who contributed. I hope you all had an enjoyable 4th, despite the threat of inclement weather, with the exception of a few downpours and lightning strikes. It turned out to be okay, so I know there was a lot of beach time, so another great 4th of July in Milford. Milford is hosting a professional golf tournament. It didn't get a lot of recognition or a lot of publicity. I'm not sure why. Great River is sponsoring an Epsom Tour ladies golf event beginning, I guess, tomorrow. There's pro-ams on Wednesday and Thursday, and then Friday, Saturday, and Sunday is the tournament. The admission is free, so if you have a chance to go down there, the city's actually providing parking at Eisenhower Park. The sponsor is providing shuttles that will run back and forth continuously from 6:30 a.m. till 8:30 p.m. Friday and Saturday, and until 6:30 p.m. on Sunday. So it's a great event for Milford. Hopefully they'll be doing it every year. But if you have a chance, again, the admission is free, a chance to get down there and see some world-class golfers. Milford also had the privilege of having 2 of its own play in the Travelers Championship in Hartford last month. Benjamin James, which this board recognized several years ago, one of the best players in the country, #1 freshman at Virginia, had his 2nd in a row exemption to play in that tournament. And one of the pros at Great River played in the U.S. Open and in the Travelers, and so more than once Milford was mentioned during those telecasts. I had a chance to talk to the pro who played and congratulated him for the pride he brought to our community. But they actually played together on Thursday and Friday at the Travelers. So many of you and many people in Milford were up there to celebrate Benjamin James and Andy Swoboda, both of Milford. Regarding Haystack, I think you guys know that Justin and I took a ride down there after we received so many emails, and they were concerning. We spent some time with a couple of the neighbors, but got a good flavor of what they were up against. And since had some discussions with planning and zoning and police, and the city is going to continue to monitor it and do whatever we can. But I wanted the neighbors to know that we took their experience seriously, and that's why I made a special trip down there. I mean, we get notes of concern throughout the community. This was enough to make me get in the car and drive down there and chat with them and just kind of drive by and better understand, as you probably do after the comments tonight, what they're experiencing. And hopefully the situation will improve, but the city's doing everything we can to address their concerns. And I guess that's enough. Thank you all. And again, happy July. Happy new fiscal year. Exciting time. So thanks, guys.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We'll move on to agenda item number 7. There is no unfinished business. Agenda item number 8, moving on to new business. Alderman Willis, agenda item number 8A.
Board of Aldermen approval is requested for the appointment of Christopher Attardo, D., 116 Hill Street, Unit 24, zip code 06460, as a member of the Veterans Ceremony and Parade Commission to fill the present vacancy, term to expire 12/31/25.
Second. We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Alderman Giannattasio.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Through you to the other members of the board, I would just like to note that Chris Attardo is a Navy veteran. I met Chris in high school at Foreign High. He's a lifelong resident of Milford, and I just want to thank him for his service and congratulate him on this appointment. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, if we could, I wonder if, Karen, are we ready? Can we give Thomas the oath? Swear him in?
Mr. Mayor, we got to vote on that first. Is there any more discussion on the motion? Hearing none. All in favor? Opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Alderman Willis, agenda item 8B,
Board of Aldermen approval is requested for the appointment of Republican Donald F. Moore, 1320 New Haven Avenue, zip 06460, as a member of the Veterans Ceremony and Parade Commission to fill the present vacancy, term to expire 12/31/25.
Second. Motion has been made and seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor? Opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Alderman Willis, agenda item 8C.
Board.
There was only the two? Will the two members that just got voted on please stand before the city clerk to get sworn in, please?
Ms. Thomas? Mr. Chairman, when I tried to address the earlier one, I was looking for Thomas Melly, or Mele. I didn't know if he was here. That's a mayor's appointment. I would have wanted to swear him as well, but I'm not sure that he's here. Oh, he is. Okay, so can we do the oath for Thomas as well? Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, for pointing that out. Next item on the agenda is agenda item 8C. Alderman Willis.
Board of Aldermen approval is requested for the attached resolution. Grant application for Consolidated Housing and Community Development Partnership.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Is there any discussion?
Yes.
Alderman Vitale.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, through you to whomever might be able to answer the question. Just bear with me for a couple of minutes here. All of the agencies that are listed, I look at many of the agencies provide wraparound services to our individuals who are involved with the grant. And I'm seeing a blaring omission, and to me anyway, and that would be bridges, as to why that organization, that agency, with all its counseling and facilities and wraparound services that it provides, why it is not part of that, part of the grant.
Mr. Chairman?
Could I have that answer, please?
Alderman Parente.
Wait, Mr. Chair. I have the floor. I just asked a question. How could I
She
have
was
the floor?
going to answer it for you.
But I asked, went to directed to Mr. Mayor or whomever.
Oh, well, I'm going to ask Sheila to take the podium to maybe be able to field some of the questions. Sheila? Thank you.
Good evening. How are you? Board Member Alderman Vitale. So this is a annual application, and this year, for the year beginning October 1st, 2023, Bridges did not submit an application. They are currently receiving CARES Act funds as a part of their HVAC upgrade improvement. Most of that fund is coming from the state. I think they have $850,000 from the state and $70,000 from CARES Act, CDBG. So we take care of them.
I'm sure you do, and I appreciate it because I also serve on the Board of Bridges, but I'm sure that there are other agencies that are, what are we calling it, double dipping or getting other monies from this particular grant? Are there any other agencies that are on this list right now that are getting and had other monies?
Well, annually, if you're referring to any other HUD funds, it's not very often that we get other HUD funds, and we have CARES Act funds. Currently, no one else besides Bethel is receiving any CARES Act funds.
Besides Bethel?
That's
so
correct.
they are.
They are, absolutely.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Is there any more discussion on the motion? Alderman Parente.
Thank you, Chairman, through you. Good evening tonight. Could you just give us, we have in our packet information that's pretty comprehensive about this, and you do come before us every year. But I think to Alderman Vitale's point, there are always things that we may not understand around how the decision-making process is done. Can you just give us a little bit of an overview or anything else you think that we should know or understand about the process? Thank you.
Certainly. So again, it's an annual application. The application is noticed. It's a notice of funding availability. I won't get too deep into the weeds here, but it goes out in January. It goes to a very large mailing list. It gets noticed in the paper. It's everything that we do through CDBG is on our website, is on the ECD website. So it's complete transparency from beginning to end. So, and then the application process begins, and there's a due date, and they submit, and we have a public hearing. We have 2 public hearings, actually, between February, and our second public hearing was in May, and that's during a 30-day comment period, which it ended June 4th, I believe. And then, as long as there's no public comment, or even if there is, that gets put into the plan, and it gets sent as part of the executive summary to you all when I request the acceptance of the award annually through the Board of Aldermen.
Thank you. And can you speak to the priority areas of housing and give us some information around that that you think would be valuable for us to understand about the state of that in our community?
Sure. So you see the full budget allocation here includes housing. So housing is something the housing program is something that I manage with the program manager. We allocate different amounts of funds every year depending on what was left over the year before, depending on the market. We might have a first-time home buyer funding as well. And it is a priority, and as well as public housing through the MRHP, Milford Redevelopment Housing Partnership. They're actually a partnership. So it is always a priority.
Just for a little more information around that. So how would you characterize the state of our housing and security issues or anything like that with our population here in terms of what we need to be aware of with folks who might be in a position where they need more support?
The state of the housing in most of Connecticut is very old housing stock. So the programs focus on making repairs, energy efficiency repairs, to income eligible residents. So the grant does go to folks that are low to moderate income. 80% median income for a household of one is $67,000 as of 2023 in June. So it's based on application. Housing in general, well, you know the story. We certainly need more housing. And I think the city is working very hard towards that. It's wonderful that it was approved, the accessory apartment dwelling unit zoning regulations were updated, and they worked very hard on that. There's always more to do.
Alderman Giannattasio.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Through you, good evening, Sheila.
Good evening.
In regards to housing, I'm interested to know the home ownership program there's a $60,000 amount. Is there a waiting list for first-time home buyers?
No.
No? Okay. And on the multifamily residential repair program, how does one qualify for that?
It's an application process. So it starts with the income verification, and then it goes to, if the homeowner is income eligible, then we look at the repairs they've requested, and we kind of, HUD provides us with, it's a very flexible grant. That's why it's still around, Community Development Block Grant. But they do have parameters, and within those parameters, we have parameters as well. And we worked with the homeowner to, if there's something that we can't do, then maybe there's something we can do. And we've now increased our limit of expending per property from $15,000 to $20,000. And if it goes over that slightly, then that's fine. It's a 0% interest loan. It's payable upon transfer of title. It can be subordinated if the homeowner is still income eligible. And I did make that loan forgivable in 2017. And so that after the loan period ends and expires, it's forgiven.
Just to follow up, Mr. Chairman, through you. So is that driven by the homeowner's income?
Yeah, the approval is based on your income first. Absolutely, all these programs are. So even our public service, they are required to have program participation. At minimum, 51% of their participants have to be income eligible.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Is there any more discussion on the motion? Alderman Vitale.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Through you to Sheila. With the multifamily residential repair program for the $75,000, how many homeowners are involved with that particular piece?
Well, I'll say that that has been a program that has not been very successful. As much as you have tried to engage landlords in this program, the policy is that the property will receive additional funding if they in turn agree to rent to low to moderate income tenants.
So if it's not successful, the money is not being used?
We have had some success. It's not as successful as I'd like. But again, it's structured so that it's really meant to improve the property, but improve the property for the tenants. So the amount of money that's spent is higher, and so that's why the budget is higher. So if I do 2 houses in 5 years, 2 multifamily houses in 5 years, I'm spending at least $75,000.
So in 5 years, so there's a time limit? Is there a minimum that this has to be done? It seems like isn't it every year this grant is given?
The number of projects that I might accomplish in 5 years has been an average of 2, whereas a single family, we're completing 4 to 6 a year. It's a big difference.
So you're depleting that money, though. You're giving that money out. Thank you.
Yeah.
Is there any more discussion? Excuse me. Is there any more discussion on the motion? Hearing none. All in favor? Opposed? Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sheila.
Next item on the agenda is agenda on 8D. 8E, I'm sorry. Alderman Willis. 8D.
Yes. Board of Aldermen approval is requested for the attached agreement between the City of Milford and Comstar, and to authorize the mayor, city attorney, and fire chief to take all steps necessary, including signing all documents to effectuate said agreement.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Is there any discussion? Alderman Parente.
Thank you, Chairman, through you. I don't know if the mayor or the city attorney has anything to tell us about this contract. I understand that it is a change of a billing vendor and that it actually offers some savings to the city. So if someone wants to speak to it.
This went out to bid, and Comstar won the bid. It's about a 3% savings on billing fees, as well as a $7,000 to $8,000 a year reduction in software subscription costs.
Is there any more discussion on the motion? Alderman Giannattasio.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Through you to the Finance Director, Peter Iridisi. Peter, can you just tell us the money that is the cost share between the city and the fire department? I guess 25% of this savings will end up in the EMS account. Is that correct?
Through you, Mr. Chairman, to the Alderman, yes, more or less that is correct. 75% is allocated to the general fund and 25% to the EMS special revenue account.
So this will, once this is adopted, this will happen relatively soon?
Through you, Mr. Chairman, yes. Once it's adopted, it'll take effect immediately. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair, just to follow up on that, the contract is a 3-year contract. If approved tonight, it's effective 7/1/23. It's a 3-year contract, and it's approximately, we were paying 6.5% of fees recovered. This contract, it's 3.5%, and like the mayor said, there's $7,000 to $8,000 in software subscription savings that Comstar is going to pick up that EMMS used to pay. So our savings is more or less around $70,000 a year if the projection of $2 million in revenue recovered for our EMS billing. And my mother was a math teacher, but my dad did math twice, so I think I'm right.
Thank you.
Is there any more discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all in favor? Opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Alderman Willis, agenda item 8E.
Board of Aldermen approval is requested per the attached recommendation of the Planning and Zoning Commission pursuant to Connecticut General Statutes 8-24 of the Connecticut General Statutes for the attached emergency access easement agreement across city-owned property at 145 High Street, 0 Railroad Avenue, 54-322, 2B, and 0 River Street, 54-322/4A, and to authorize the mayor and city attorney to take all steps necessary to effectuate said easement.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Is there any discussion? Alderman Giannatasio.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Through you to the city attorney, Attorney Bertram, if you could please just give us your legal opinion on this easement.
Mr. Chair, through you to Alderman Giannatasio, as this board, a lot of you have been on this board a long time. You may recall in 2015, through a grant, state grant, we acquired the parcels involved for purposes of transit-oriented development. Approximately 2 years after that, in 2017, the city issued a request for qualifications to sell 1.28 of the 2.2 acres for transit-oriented development. On June 15, 2018, MetroStar's proposal and offer to purchase the 1.28 acres was selected by a committee, Downtown River High Street Development Committee. MetroStar, this board approved purchase by MetroStar of that property for $500,000 plus the requirement to build a parking garage, which the city will get over 120 parking spaces at $1 a year for 97 years. The development agreement this board approved, state OPM approved, was signed on February 14th, 2020. I don't know if the date means anything to anybody, but that was right at the start of COVID, which put us all a little bit behind the 8 ball in terms of due diligence, investigating as we worked through the development agreement. The biggest thing that, I guess, through a speed bump in our process was the development originally was designed so that Railroad Avenue would go two ways for several hundred feet. Right now it goes one way from High to River. We worked for several years through our state delegation with the State Department of Transportation in an effort to try to change Railroad Ave from one way to two way. Ultimately, we hit too many speed bumps and were never able to move forward. MetroStar then came in with a new design, which was brought to the P&Z, was approved again through all the necessary channels, requiring now access, emergency access from River to High Street. So that's the basis of these easements, that it's a redesign where we moved away from the two-way at Railroad Ave and we're controlling our own destiny in terms of the access. So those are the two easements. One is for emergency access through the strips, through the parking lots that exist now, and then there's the subsequent easement, which is more along River Street.
Just to follow up, Mr. Chairman, through you. So this will be the last approval in the process, or is there more to come?
This is it. We are ready to close, subject to the approval from this board for these easements. Both parties are anxious to close this chapter.
One more last question. Has the contractor indicated a start date upon this approval?
No, I just know MetroStar, given the climate of construction, is anxious to get going.
Thank you.
Is there any more discussion on the motion? Alderman Marlowe.
Good evening. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I guess to whoever, with this easement, who's responsible for upkeep of this and any repairs or whatever else need to be done to this easement?
Mr. Alderman, through you to Alderman Marlowe, essentially, it's our lot. It's an emergency access easement, so I don't think you'll notice it. You'll notice that, fire trucks may go across it, so there's some cross indemnifications, but by and large, it's still our parking lot. We're not going to make MetroStar repave the strip if they go over it, once a month per se. It's primarily so that they can have access from river to high. So yeah, we will be maintaining the parking lot and the way we do it. Actually, I think the transit district maintains a lot of it now under contract with the city.
Okay, thank you. And just with that, I thought I read in here as well that if the property or the development is ever sold, the easement goes along with it.
Yes, it runs with the land. That's why there was a public hearing before this meeting, because it's a transfer. Easements are a transfer of property, so yes, it would run with the land.
Thank you.
Is there any more discussion on the motion? Alderman Gurman.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Through you to Attorney Bertram. Just for clarity, so the city currently still owns this property, correct? And then once we approve this, hopefully tonight, that it'll be able to be transferred to the new owner?
Mr. Chair, through you to Alderman Gurman, yes, just for clarity's sake, what we're really talking about is 4 parcels. So you've got, I'm going to lean on your Milford knowledge, Dan. You have the agro property, okay? And then you have the lots that go behind it to High Street. So this easement is across Milford properties that we're going to retain ownership. There was the old red factory building that bordered Railroad Ave. We'll still have ownership of that. After tonight, if both easements are approved, both the emergency access easement as well as the construction and overpass easement along the sidewalk on River, the city will transfer ownership of the agro building and that lot, 1.2 acres of the 2.2 acres. But it was part of an assemblage of multiple properties that we purchased years ago.
Thank you.
Is there any more discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all in favor? Opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Alderman Willis, agenda item 8F.
Board of Aldermen approval is requested per the attached recommendation of the Planning and Zoning Commission pursuant to Connecticut General Statutes 8-24 of the Connecticut General Statutes for the attached construction, maintenance, access, and use easement agreement across city-owned property located at 44 to 64 River Street, and to authorize the mayor and city attorney to take all steps necessary to effectuate said easement.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Is there any discussion? Alderman Marlowe.
Just a question on this one. In looking at it, I can't really tell from this little drawing, Chairman. Are we, and I know this has already been approved by Planning and Zoning, so it's more for myself to help understand, are we adjusting River Street, the width of River Street at all with this? Attorney Bertram, maybe.
Mr. Chair, through you to Alderman Marlowe, no.
Okay, just looking at this little map,
I know,
it seems like we're shrinking River Street.
No.
Okay, thank you.
Is there any more discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all in favor? Opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Alderman Willis, agenda item number 8G.
Board of Aldermen approval is requested for the attached resolution utilizing contractors for road work at state pricing rate.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Is there any discussion? Alderman Giannattasio.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Through you, I see our Public Works Director, if he could come and answer a question, please. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening. Director Saley, can you just share with the board what prompted this resolution before us?
So, as everyone's aware, the gas company's been doing a lot of work in the city last year and again beginning this year. They're going to continue because of a pure requirement to do work throughout the city probably over the next 5 to 10 years, replacing most of the gas pipelines that are in the city. So a lot of times we take what we call a buyout from the city or from the gas company, and we do the work with Tilcon as our contractor or O&G as our contractor. But there's times when it's prudent for the city to let the gas company hire their own contractor for smaller work, and we just thought it should come before the board for your review and approval.
Okay, that makes complete sense. I'm in favor of this as presented. Is this going to be exclusively at the Public Works Director's discretion, or is this going to be at the mayor's as well, in order to use this resolution on a certain specific job?
I believe in the ordinance it says the mayor and the Public Works Director will work together. Predominantly it's the Public Works Director that does it, though. The mayor's busy with other things.
So you would both have to be in agreement with this for this to move
Yes,
forward?
yes.
Okay, thank you.
Any more discussion on the motion? Alderman Gurman.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, through you to Director Saley. So this is what you're currently doing, correct? You just want...
No. Presently, like the work that got started this week is where the gas company is doing curb to curb 100% at their expense. These are for the roads that are over 10 years old that we partake in some of the repair work.
All right, thank you.
Alderman Parente.
Thank you, through you, Chairman. Good evening, Director Saley. You just referred to this as an ordinance. Were you just meaning the resolution, or, okay.
I apologize.
Just for clarification.
I apologize. It's a resolution, yes. I'll get
All
beat
right,
up by
and-
the city attorney after this, I'm sure.
Okay, great. And so I certainly defer to you as our Public Works Director around these kind of decisions. I know we've had another ordinance that's been tabled. Is there anything that the Public Works Committee would need to share with us on the board about any further information that we might not have with regard to this?
I could speak to that. I'm a member of the Public Works Committee. I know that this is going to be a huge convenience, and it's going to move the job along in a quicker fashion. So I think that's another part of it. And we're also realizing a savings because all of the pricing that these vendors, they have to agree to our contract pricing, which is much less than what we've been paying. So I think it's a win-win.
It is. Thank you.
Any more discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all in favor? Opposed? Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chris. Next item on the agenda is new business. We don't have any more new business. The next item is agenda item number 10, budget memo transfers. There are none. Next item is refunds list. Consideration of refunds in the amount of $4,234.07. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion is made and seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Next item on the agenda, agenda item number 12, reports of standing committee, ordinance committee, Alderman Parente.
Thank you, Chairman. Earlier this evening, the Ordinance Committee of the Board of Aldermen met, and we voted to pass the following motion through to the full board, 12A-1, an ordinance amending Chapter 9, Garbage, Trash, and Refuse, Article 1, Collection, Section 9-114 of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Milford, Rules and Regulations.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Is there any discussion? Alderman Giannattasio.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Through you, I do rise in support of this ordinance. I know that it's been a long time coming, and Jeannie Cavallero, the president of the Condominium Association, has been very persistent, and I would just like to applaud you for that. I think it's been 20 years since this rate has been looked at. I feel that, as we all know, things have gone up substantially in the past couple of years, never mind 20 years. So this is well overdue, and this will put you in parity with the 55 and older community that exclusively has this ordinance, which was passed not too long ago. But if the board would indulge me, I do have an amendment. My amendment is on, I believe it's section, the last statement of the ordinance, which is letter D. It says the payment schedule set forth hereunder shall be reviewed each even number year. And I present that as in the form of amendment. And the purpose of that is, I think that this should be looked at sooner than later at every even year. I think that opens the conversation for a potential increase. I know that Jeannie has requested meetings, and sometimes they were delayed. So I think that would prevent something like that from happening in the future, and for the future boards that will be sitting in these seats for years to come. So that's my amendment, and I would like someone to second it.
The motion has been made and seconded for the amendment. Is there any discussion? Alderman Parente.
Thank you, through you, Chairman. I'm wondering if Attorney Bertram could speak to what would the mechanism be if we were to approve this amendment? How would this be reviewed by whom? How would it be introduced into kind of the public domain each in the even years?
Mr. Chair, through you to Alderman Parente, in terms of the amendment itself, it doesn't affect any of the notice things. The notice was the title of it. I don't know if I'm... Oh, yeah. The mayor's office, I mean, in terms of, there could be a diary set up in terms of even years. I don't see that as a problem. It'd be incumbent upon this board to diary and calendar it.
Yeah, I think we're, earlier, some of the ordinance committee members were discussing what different iterations might be and how would this be effectuated, essentially. So if we were to do something like this, who would that fall under the ordinance committee's responsibility? Would that fall under the mayor's administration's responsibility? And how would that be effectuated every other year?
Mr. Chair, through you to Alderman Parente, I apologize. Now I understand your question. It would come to the mayor's office. The ordinance wouldn't have to be changed. It's the same thing as alternating years in terms of elected officials and staggered years. It would be incumbent upon them that, as written, this is effective January 1, 2024, because we pay these in arrears. So January 1, 2026, this board, through the mayor's office, would have to review the rate of reimbursement, and so on and so on. But it would be upon the mayor's office, and whoever's in the mayor's office, if they forget, I'm sure that someone on the 15 will remember, or Ms. Cavallero will certainly come back and join us and remind you all of your obligations under this proposed ordinance.
Alderman Mulroney.
Through you, Mr. Chair. Good evening. To you, Attorney Bertram. Just out of curiosity, are there any other ordinances that are under review on a schedule as what is proposed for this ordinance?
Mr. Chair, through you to Alderman Mulroney, This is the only ordinance I know that is supposed to be reviewed. But as Alderman Giantassio said, 20 years, there was no timeline associated with it, so I think there were some issues. But yeah, I'm not aware of any, but I'd be loath to say there is none other. I don't know that. I'm not aware of any. I know this ordinance because it's been the topic of a lot of conversations in terms of having to review it, but there was no time frame in which to do that. So the absence of a deadline gave it no deadline.
Any more discussion on the amendment? Alderman Vitale.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, through you. I think the existing language was so open-ended that it didn't make sense to know when is necessary to review that particular ordinance. So just putting that language in there, that it's every even year going forward, I think adds a little structure to the ordinance. Thank you.
Any more discussion on the amendment? Seeing none, we'll vote on the amendment. All in favor? Opposed?
Mr. Chairman, I'm going to abstain from voting on this matter.
One more time, other than the abstention, is any opposed? Amendment passes unanimously. Back to the original motion. Any more discussion on the original motion? Alderman Vitale.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Through to whomever, probably Peter, have you estimated what the cost of this would be at this particular point in time?
Through you, Mr. Chairman, Alderman Vitale, I believe we did come up with an estimate. It's approximately $200,000 in addition.
Right, and I think to reconcile that, did we not do something in last year's budget to accommodate that number?
Through you, Mr. Chairman, yes, partially to some extent. We did add to it, but not entirely.
Right, and so that would be part and parcel of taxes and whatever that would be, reconciling that number, that expenditure? How do we get to how do we pay for it?
Through you, Mr. Chairman, if we're short in the account, we would have to explore a budgetary transfer. And then, of course, in future budgets, we would have to increase the line item to account for this change. Thank you.
Thank you.
Alderman Giantassio.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I would also like to note that, being that we're on the main motion, that this would not take effect until 2024. And to Alderman Vitale's point, yes, there was $50,000 allocated that was earmarked to go towards this from our last budget cycle. So those are two good things to know. Thank you.
Alderman Parente.
Thank you, Chairman, through you. I know that Jeannie just had to step out, but I wanted to just let her know that, just on a personal note, watching her persistence and her representation of the folks who she was here to do that for was very impressive, and we couldn't speak to her in all those months that she came here to work on behalf of them, but it was really something to behold, and so I just wanted to make that comment and let her know that that was appreciated, even though we had to be silent on it. Thank you.
Any other discussion on the original motion? Hearing none, all in favor? Opposed? Motion passes unanimously.
Mr. Chairman, I will abstain from voting on that particular
I'm
motion.
sorry,
Thank you.
you're right. It's not unanimous, it's one abstention. You noted that, Madam Secretary, thank you. Is there any more reports of any standing committees? Seeing none, move on to the next item on the agenda. Is there any reports of any special committees? I don't see anybody. I will entertain a motion to enter into executive session to discuss items 14A and 14B. Joining us in executive session for items 14A and 14B will be the Mayor, Rich Smith, City Attorney John Bertram, and City Assessor Marcus Eric. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Was a motion made? Is there a second? Motion made and seconded to go into executive session. All in favor? Opposed? We're in executive session. We are now out of executive session. Is there a motion? Is a motion to come out of executive session? Is there a second?
Second.
Motion to come out of executive session and a second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? We're out of executive session. Alderman Willis.
I have a motion to approve Connecticut CVS Pharmacy LLC versus City of Milford, 734 Bridgeport Avenue, as discussed in executive session.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Alderman Willis.
Could I have a motion to approve Milford Plaza Holdings, DE LLC versus City of Milford, 125 to 211 Cherry Street and 199 Cherry Street.
Second.
As discussed in executive session.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Is there a motion to adjourn? Motion to adjourn and seconded. All in favor? Opposed? Meeting adjourned. I just want to take a second to thank Alderman Willis, taking Alderman Beatty's place. He did a great job.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Oh.